morning.
Good morning, John.
I trust you slept well.
Yes, thank you. And yourself?
Yes, well.
I've been looking forward to today's writing. I've been thinking, we're looking at the last week of Jesus' life. Surely we're coming towards the end of our work.
Well, yes, we have got to the point in the story where we're retelling Jesus' last week on earth, but I wouldn't say our work is nearly over. So many important things happen in that week, I don't want to miss a thing. But you'll soon understand. Let's get to work.
Yes, we finished yesterday when you were still in Jerusalem.
Yes, it was time for the Passover festival. And looking back, it was obvious that Jesus knew he would soon be leaving earth to return to the Father. But even with all that on his mind, he was never selfish. And what was to be our last evening together, he showed us his love by arranging a meal for us to share. But it was like any other meal. It seemed so normal at the time, but that was really far from the truth. You see, Judas was there, the son of Simon Iscariot, and he'd already decided in his heart to betray Jesus. But Jesus knew that the Father had put everything under his power. He knew that he came from God and he'd soon be returning to God. Oh, and an hour into the meal, that's when it got strange. Jesus got up, took off his outer clothing, wrapped a towel round his waist, put water in a basin and began to wash our feet.
Wasn't there a servant to do that? Hadn't someone done it when you'd arrived? Why would a teacher want to wash the feet of his student?
Well, that's what we were thinking. We didn't want him to do it, but we didn't dare argue. Well, actually, that's not true. Peter was as outspoken as ever. We were children together. He's always been the same. So when it came to Peter's turn, he couldn't help himself. He had to say something.
Lord, are you going to wash my feet?
You do not realise what I am doing, but later you'll understand.
No, you shall never wash my feet.
Unless I wash you, you have no part with me.
Then, Lord, not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well.
Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you. Do you not understand what I've done for you? You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I've set you an example that you should do as I've done for you. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them.
And then things got even more serious, even more strange. Jesus looked troubled in his spirit, and he began to say that one of us sitting at the table was going to betray him. All of us were at a loss of which one it would be. But I was sitting between Simon Peter and Jesus at the time. Peter motioned to me to ask him.
It's the one I will give this piece of bread to when I've dipped it in the dish.
Then, taking the bread and dipping it in the dish, he gave it to Judas. And as soon as Judas took the bread, he completely changed.
Judas? What's he saying? What's he doing?
Judas? What you are about to do quickly.
None of us understood why Jesus said this to him. I mean, Judas was in charge of the money, so we thought that Jesus was telling him to go and buy something in preparation for the festival or to give something to the poor. Well, as soon as Judas got the bread, he got up and left. And by that time it was night. And as soon as Judas left, Jesus began to talk again, and we fell silent.
My children, I will be with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and just as I told the Jews, so I now tell you, where I am going, you cannot come. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples.
Lord, where are you going?
Where I am going, you cannot follow now, but you will follow later.
Lord, why can't I follow you now? I'll lay down my life for you.
Will you really lay down your life for me? Very truly I tell you, before the cock crows, you will disown me 3 times.
Well, this was turning out to be a great meal. How were you all feeling? Were you upset or angry? Or were you just all a bit confused?
Well, that was an understatement if I ever heard one. We were devastated. And Jesus knew that. He tried to tell us to not let our hearts be troubled. He told us that he was going back to his Father's house, that his Father's house had many rooms and he was going to prepare a place for us. But by that time, every one of us had a sense of foreboding. He didn't hold back the punches that night. He knew time was short. But we couldn't take it all in then. That's why it's so good to reflect on these things now. He said so much that evening. He prayed for us, the world, those who were lost, those who would come to know him through us. He even said that once he was gone, the Father would send a helper, the Holy Spirit, to be with us. Getting tired now. Remembering can take a lot out of a person.
Let's take a break. We'll have a walk. We'll come back to this tomorrow. The fresh air will help you gather your thoughts.
It's a good idea. We can do this tomorrow.